Happy New Year, and we have a new product from Aqara. This is the new smart lock. It's the U400 kit. They've actually lumped in a bunch of features and made it mostly cross-platform, so you're not locked into one particular ecosystem. But it comes with a lot of Apple Home specific features that might sway you that way. Let's open up and see what we've got inside. So we have a little template, some general manuals, boxes and boxes of accessories. Let's just take everything out first. So that'll be the main outside lock. This will be the inner side. That's a little dongle. And a pair of keys. This is the outer piece of the lock. As you can see, it has a fingerprint here. And below here, you have a little entry for the key, which is hidden nicely behind this little flap. Actually has a very satisfying click to it. Below, we have a USB Type-C and a speaker grill. So the USB-C can be used for plugging in your power bank to quickly charge it up in case it ran out of power while you're outside. You have a nice gasket on the back. I believe this is a sensor to make sure that nobody's tampering with it. And you have obviously the whole main mechanism for opening the door. So let's open up the next part. This is the unit that goes on the inside of your door, and it has a few different modes. So you can leave it on unlocked mode or locked mode. And I think this way is a kind of a manual unlock. And inside here, you have a compartment for your battery. Your rechargeable battery goes here. This particular kit comes with single battery, while some kits actually come with a dual battery. I would say I probably would prefer getting a dual battery because during the time when you're charging it up, it'd be nice just to plug it in and not need to worry about that your lock not fully function. This battery is really very reminiscent of a Sony Light batteries. Yeah, you can see you got USB Type-C to charge it, and these are the connectors that connect into the actual lock itself. So they should just go in, done. And you have a little pull tab, which is nice to take it out. And you can immediately see, so it even says here, it's Matter compatible. So this unit has a lot of compatibility with all kinds of systems, but we'll get into that a bit later on. Let's just finalize all the little items and then we'll kind of go through it. You have some screws for the installation, and then you have the actual lock itself with the actual brackets and everything. We just installed the lock just for visual effect to see how it will work. So don't mind the little podiums, we're just trying to line it all up. What we need to do is install the Aqara app. So this is the Aqara Home app. And there's different ways to do it. You can install it either via the Aqara Home app, or you can actually go via the Matter process. So it really depends what you want to use. For Matter, you're going to need to use this little dongle for Matter and Thread. But I'm just going to go straight on the app and just try to set up that way. The lock is installed in our little setup, in a little door setup. But you can imagine it this way. So this is the outside of the door, and this is the inside. Obviously, this is the lock inside the frame. So there's a virtual frame right here. The lock is in the system, and I'm literally able to use the hold to lock and unlock buttons already. What we can start doing now is start setting up your different access device. And this is where it gets really fun. This system supports many different variances of your security devices. You can use a code. You can use the keypad on the front to set up a code. You can also use your fingerprints, and you can set up multiple different fingerprints for yourself, for your family, for your partners. You can use a single time use pins, as well as your phone NFC controller. And on top of that, you also have support for UWB. UWB is a modern feature which utilizes a centimeter accuracy sensor between the device and your phone. So as you come up to the door, it will actually automatically unlock, and you can set up very sensitive details. For example, you can set it up and walk past the door as if you're in your garden doing some gardening work, and the door will not open. But as you're walking right up to the door, only then that's where it's going to open up. Same goes if you're on the inside of the door. It knows positionally where you are. So when you come up to the door from the inside, it won't unlock unless you're coming specifically from the outside in. So your safety should not be compromised. Aqara actually advertises this as a Apple specific feature because, well, this device and actually the rest of the lineup recently has been very much focused on Apple users, as well as having an Apple HomeKit as part of the features you could use. So Apple HomeKey is basically a virtual card, a virtual access card that you can use for this lock as well. Unfortunately, we currently don't have an Apple device in our household. We're very much Android focused. Let's try what we can set up and see if it works. Now we can add the fingerprint. You just follow the menu and it should just...
Continue capturing more fingerprint area repeated. Fingerprint area, continue capturing more, added successfully. Owner added successfully.
So it says to close the door and press start. Calibration is done. Now, what we can do is start adding in some different features. So for one-time password, if you wanted to give your maid, your cleaner, or your friend an access to your house, you can literally just press one-time password, add, and it will just generate it. You can literally just share it out via your favorite app, whatever you want. Just copy or save as an image, which is very, very useful. And once you use the app, that should just immediately expire. So let's just give this a go. So the password is 71. Ooh. 82. 19 and unlock, and it works. In terms of users, you can literally go to user management and add a new user. So let's just say user 2, and you can start adding in your fingerprint, your password, or in this case, I actually want to add NFC device.
Please put NFC device close to sensing area. Please put NFC device close to sensing area.
Let's figure out where the sensing area is. It's here. We know for sure that my particular phone is not working. So that might also very much be because they probably have it locked down to what kind of NFC devices they support. It might not be a phone immediately. So that's something that we need to consider. Let's just open up more settings and see what else we can do right now. So you also have a bunch of different modes you can use. So you can use your standard mode, where all settings are active with support for remote unlocking and scheduled password setup. You can also lock out remote lock verification. Once enabled, a passcode verification is needed, so you can't just accidentally click it and just opens up the door. Or you can actually change it to Bluetooth directly, so only supports Bluetooth direct connections, so you can't accidentally remotely access this lock via the internet, which is very good for keeping your security a bit more local. So if there is an attacker out there in the world, they can't just open up your door from another country. There's also night latch mode. Once enabled, the door can be unlocked freely from the inside. From the outside, only Aqara admin account, Bluetooth, or emergency can unlock it. Access through the other platforms like Apple Home will be restricted. So since you can add this device to Apple Home, if you have it set to a night latch mode, basically it won't work through your home automations. It'll only work through the general first-party setup. There are a lot of other features such as pairing other Matter devices to it. You can control an automation through other Aqara devices, or if you want to, other Zigbee or other Matter devices as well. So for example, when somebody comes up to this lock and opens the door, you can turn on the lights, or when you leave on the opposite side, you can actually turn off the lights. So that's kind of cool. In the settings here, you also have your lockout time. If somebody put in the code 10 times wrong, you can currently set them up as 30 minutes lockout. That's the default. You can disable that, but I'll probably leave it as a 30-minute lockout. So people, if they did try to break in, they just get locked out and they kind of give up and move away. You also have a lot of controls for your sound and notifications. So you can go and change the alert volume, your notifications, what it actually does, your alarm notifications when the door is not closed. So if it has been closed for a while, you can actually have it go off with the alarm. One thing to consider is obviously we have this in the less than ideal environment. We don't really have a door to test it on, so we're kind of limited. But the amount of features they have is actually quite surprising. Let me share a few features that I think that are standout for a device like this, and I think Aqara is heading in the right direction. One of the features is the auto lock and door state logic. So because it has a gyro sensor inside, it actually knows when to lock as the door closes. So you can actually auto lock at the set time, You can have an action button that allows quick toggling of auto lock behavior. You also have a manual override on the back here. So you can have enabled open and close manually, but then you should be able to use the toggle button to enable further functionality. Auto lock is one of the more important safety features for locks like this, and it's so easy to have an automatic lock and just walk out and just leave your door unlocked by accident. So it's something that you should really look into and make sure you have it set up properly and calibrate it as well. Should you need to recharge the battery, it's quite easy. Just literally pop it out and use it. And since you can still manually control the lock, same as with our lock at home, you basically take out the battery, put it on charge, and you can't open the door from the outside at all without using a physical key. So you need to make sure to use that while you're charging. But without the battery, so let me just show you. Without the battery, so you still have ability to manually lock the door. So you still at least retain a fully manual way of securing the home while you're charging up the battery. And obviously then you still have the key to do the same from the outside. So you can take this out, put the key in, and still control the lock like you would. You have ability to just carry on using it. I despise locks that don't have a manual key, because at some point you're going to run out of battery or it's going to break, and you really don't want to break down your door in order to get in there. This way you have a backup at any given point. The other thing that is cool, so with AWB, the functionality itself is wonderful if it works or when it works, but it also uses up a lot more power. What Aqara has done is they've actually gone a step further and automated in such a way that when it drops below a certain amount of power, I believe it says 8%, that functionality will just get disabled. So you're not draining your power when you have that critical level of battery. Obviously, this is a perimeter lock. So you might have it on your porch or somewhere outside, which is going to be exposed to elements. And that's why it has all these gaskets all around. It is actually IP65 rated. So with rain and so on, you're fine, it's completely covered. And even the key hole itself is covered with this little plastic cover. So it just makes it a little bit easier to keep your electronics nice and secure. In terms of the configuration, and I know some people are worried about their privacy, your fingerprints are only stored in the device itself. Obviously, there are some limitations, and as Aqara has said themselves, the matter configuration is limited. You can do basic tasks such as opening and closing. You can configure your fingerprints and get all that stuff done, but it is limited. What it does open up is ability to integrate with other platforms, whether it's Home Assistant or Apple Home or whatever other tools you want to use. So I would say set it up fully in Aqara Home app, have all the configurations done in there, and use Matter to control it remotely for other reasons, for some other automations, and getting the status out of it. I think this is where its superpower is ability to communicate the data and just kind of have it as part of your existing ecosystem and control and still configure directly through the Aqara app. The lock itself covers all the basics in terms of having the functionality, the manual override. The only thing that's outstanding here is knowing how long the battery is going to last. Aqara claims it will last around 6 months or up to 6 months, depending on your use. If you use it daily or use it multiple times a day, this time frame might actually drop by a significant amount. But if you're working from home and you don't go out that often, you might be okay. What I would say is, if you really struggle, get a second battery. They're clearly going to be available for sale. You can pick it up and just, when you're swapping it out, just pop one in, set it up, and you're good to go. And you can easily charge it using USB Type-C. I would say, use the slowest possible charger that you have in the house to charge these batteries to preserve the longevity of them. That way you can just kind of maintain and make sure that the batteries don't need to be replaced in 2 or 3 years. What do you guys think? Is this something you would consider buying for your home? Let me know if you're an Apple user. I'm curious if Apple specific items are going to be the reason people buy it for. Let us know in the comments below. As always, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.